Nearly everyone on the planet has played video games at some point. In the United States alone, 65% of households currently play them, and many homes in America have at least one game console. In fact, the Entertainment Software Association reports that 9 games are sold every second of every day. They've come a long way since 2 scientists created the cathode ray tube amusement device in 1947. Once the industry hit the mainstream, what began as a curiosity became an overnight phenomenon. It found its way into people's homes through consoles and home computers. After a disastrous market collapse in 1983, the industry had a rebirth 2 years later and has never looked back. Along the way, a variety of third-party developers have sprouted up and created many popular games on pre-existing platforms. As the use of the internet increased, its integration with the gaming community through multiplayer games was inevitable.
Oh, that was messy.
Currently a multi-billion-dollar industry, only the motion picture industry rivals it in the entertainment business. And as irony would have it, the two have frequently collaborated to spawn even more products. A little-known fact is that the DC-Baltimore area has been called the East Coast hub of the gaming and simulation development industry, with about 100 interactive technology companies in the area. As the video game industry's popularity has grown, so have the number of its applied uses, as well as the number of people looking to work in the industry. To answer the demand, Montgomery College now offers a degree program in computer gaming and simulation. So what is the program? How does it educate its students? Who are the people who work in the industry, and what do they do? How are games used beyond just entertainment? You're about to find out as we profile the Gaming and Simulation program at Montgomery College.
I'm Cy Cormai, and I work for the Microsoft Corporation as an academic relations manager. One of the biggest ways that students have become really interested in some of the Microsoft technologies is through our gaming platforms. Microsoft's goal when we get into creating platforms of any kind is to really make your lives easier. If you have a goal of developing something, say a game, our platform called XNA makes that easier. And right now we've enabled is we've added on a library and a set of code to our Visual Studio software and our .NET platform, so you can use the C# programming language to create games. You can actually sell these games over Xbox Live Arcade and make real money off of it. So you can submit your game, it'll be rated by the community, and you can simply just start charging people gamer points for your creation. The initial perception of gamers was that teenage boy sitting in his parents' living room or basement playing the game for hours on end, a very marginalized subset of the population. That's no longer true, even if it ever was. Now everyone plays games, even just classical games where it's just purely gaming. So, if you play with your Nintendo Wii, if you play with your Xbox 360, there's a wide variety of games that almost everyone plays now. And that's really important because the exact same interactions and knowledge feed into every other aspect of the industry. So in order for a game to be fun, it has to be easy to use. You're not going to sit there and read through manuals to figure out how to play a game. You expect to pick up a controller and instantly be immersed in the experience. Strike! Those exact same skills and those exact same goals between a user and a developer using a product exist for anything else. Gaming and simulation are really powerful because they build that direct, personal, and intuitive connection between whatever the developers or the creators of the software are trying to communicate and their audience. This makes that general technology of gaming or simulation applicable across a wide variety of different interactions, far beyond what people traditionally consider video games.
I'm Bob Waddington, Chief Operating Officer of SimQuest. SimQuest is in the business of developing medical simulators for surgeons and doctors. Our clients are mostly the U.S. government, the DoD, the Army. The types of projects we're working on currently, the primary project we have is we're trying to develop an open surgical simulator for doctors to be taught the basic surgical skills. There's a study conducted not too long ago where surgeons who played games performed better in the operating room. We present a tool for end users to practice different strategies and tactics and decision-making skills, and they can see the outcomes of the decision, good or bad, without any real effect. One thing that may separate simulation from games that people may suggest is the element of fun. And that's why it took a while for games not to be taken seriously by the simulation community, because In some cases, what they were doing was serious work, and therefore that's not representative of what a game may imply.
Gaming creates a much more advanced sense of multiple point perception as well as reaction speed. One organization which has done a great job on capitalizing on the increased popularity of gaming and the way that conditions students is the military. One of their big goals is to almost take people off the front lines and replace them with robots. So for example, if we have a set of operators in Las Vegas, Nevada flying observer drones in Iraq, that means that those set of people no longer have to be in harm's way. And if they happen to get shot down, it's just a device rather than a person. With the new generation of Americans growing up, learning how to play games and gaining the skills that they teach at a very young age, they have a much more advanced sense of working with a device without actually being next to it or being inside of it.
Good shooting, Bravo 10.
Probably the first non-board game I ever played was something called Pong, and I remember the day it was delivered into high school back in 1976. And for a quarter, we got to sit back and hit this little ball that came flying across the screen, and you could not put your quarter in the machine fast enough. When you compare the games from the early 90s and the late 80s to what's going on today, there's just no comparison. And what will happen in the future, I have no idea. But you know, if you see the progress from just in 10 years and how sophisticated these games are and the technology available to us, and what could happen in the future, I don't know. But it's going to be really impressive.
They'll give you a promotion for this.
They'll give us all promotion for this.
You know the industry has arrived when at the end of games or in almost anything that you see, no matter what the size, you start seeing credits rolling just like in a major Hollywood production. I think that's pretty impressive. To this day, I'm not really sure who the names were behind Pac-Man. They really do some credit.
Ooh, a hard hit. He made him pay.
There's a population of coming up who has grown up with games, and their demands for training and engaging training applications is high. So the training community has to adapt to that, and so now there's an acceptance of using games in training.
I'm Russ Williams, and I'm a technology architect at the Microsoft Technology Center in Reston, Virginia. When we look at gaming design, it's really all about trying to create this physical world. So you're throwing things, there's water that's moving, wind's happening. All of these things kind of come together to create a great game. Well, it turns out that these things are just as useful in natural user interfaces for business applications. You'll often get folks that say, hey, I know that this application can do this, I just don't know where it is. Natural user interfaces allow users to interact with software more easily. We're all about removing barriers. With the Wii Remote, or Wiimote as folks call it, it's an excellent device for doing just that. And you can use this to do various gestures that a software program could pick up and respond to. You're probably used to seeing the bowling games or the boxing games that are done on Nintendo. There are actually public domain libraries out there that will allow you to do the very same thing on a Windows platform. I'm working with stroke patients where they're using this device to actually do range of motion exercises. We can actually tie this into back-end systems, so as they do these exercises, we can actually capture that fact, and then we're able to bill Medicare and Medicaid and those kind of things. So it's an example of a device actually being used in two purposes, one for patient rehabilitation, but also be tied into the actual commercial aspect of some business application. We're moving into an era where gamers will actually, the skills that they have will apply equally to business application development.
Nice approach.
This is Microsoft Surface, and for us it really represents an absolutely new way to interact with software, a very natural and intuitive way for folks to go ahead and interact with the applications that they want to use on a daily basis. And if you look at this, really we've borrowed a lot from what folks have done in the gaming industry for years. All of the thinking and the disciplines and the approach that you would use to build immersive and very engaging games are the same types of principles that you'll use to build good Surface applications. So this is an interesting application. It's for a cardiologist, we'll say. You can kind of see this nice menuing that I kind of scroll back and forth with that shows all the various things that this particular patient has come in to work on. And we're now actually looking at a model of the heart so that I could have this conversation about, let's say, a stent that we were going to put in the next day. I've got to be accurate. I need to make sure that this patient absolutely understands what we're talking about, the risks involved, and those kind of things. So this is very helpful to have this kind of modeling available to me. You don't want a cardiologist fumbling around with menus and those things. You want it to be easy. He doesn't want all those kind of things in the way as he's trying to talk with his patient. What you're looking at here is water, and as I touch it, it reacts much like water should react in the physical world. When you're building a game, if you had a little avatar that ran through water, you'd need it to respond and kind of appear like water. You can kind of see, I don't actually have to touch my hand to get this water to respond. Now these are the kind of things, as a game designer, you're going to want to do the same kind of thing. If I have sort of a baseball bat and I'm beating on something, I need to have that be realistic. That's what we've done here with this application. So a lot of similarities in terms of having users interact with software and then have it respond in a very realistic way. Games are all about being very immersive and engaging. You want folks to be able to grab a controller and just go get lost for a couple hours. Those are the very same types of things that we're trying to bring to other applications, even business applications. I wasn't always a software developer. I actually started out in the construction business, and I liked that, thought that's what I was going to do, but it got to be hard to find work, so I decided to go back to school, and I picked Montgomery College, did a couple years there that I really enjoyed, and here I find myself at Microsoft.
What I found exciting was to find out that Montgomery College had a program in game development. To find a college this close to our facility that is offering a program allows us to tap into that.
I'm Deborah Solomon. I'm the coordinator for the Gaming and Simulation program at Montgomery College. The program started as a certificate, and then based on student demand, we turned it into a more elaborate degree program, which is a 2-year AA degree. The courses are taught on the Rockville campus, and some courses are also taught on the Tacoma Park Silver Spring campus and the Germantown campus. There are also evening, weekend, and online classes available. The degree program has 3 tracks: game art and animation, game programming, and game production and design. And in each track, students learn the fundamental skills for each of those career areas.
I'm Lita Fernandez, and I graduated from the gaming program at MC, and I'm now the lead animator and concept artist for an educational game. I got into it actually, I used to be in general studies, and then I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I knew that I liked art and I liked games. And so I don't think the gaming program even existed when I first started, but it was just a certificate, and then they made it into a degree program, and I was like, that's exactly what I wanted. So it was a good, perfect fit for me.
After completing the AE degree in computer gaming and simulation at Montgomery College, many of our students go on to transfer to complete a bachelor's degree in gaming. There are several schools in the area that offer a bachelor's. Many of our students go to the University of Baltimore at the Shady Grove campus, which is here in Montgomery County. Not only is it local and convenient, it's also easy for students to transfer their credits.
I'm Brian Doyle. I am currently a senior at the University of Baltimore, and I am taking all of my classes at the Shady Grove campus. I'm also a graduate from the Gaming and Simulation program here at Montgomery College. I was actually one of the students that had a difficult time deciding what my major was. I was sitting waiting to speak to an advisor, just flipping through the program book, and I saw that there was this new major that was computer gaming and simulation, and I thought, well, that sounds a lot more fun than what I'm doing now. I should ask about it. So I spoke with my advisor. The advisor was very excited, thought very highly of the program. So I decided to make the switch and try it out. And I'm very happy that I did. I've gotten an A in every class since I have.
I'm Jing Wang. I've been in this country for just a few years. I was taking classes here at Montgomery College, and I just finished all my gaming classes. All the projects I'm working on in class are basically about programming in different kinds of languages, like C++ or C#. Class is covering lots of stuff, so yeah, it's really an interesting major for you to take, but it's not that easy as you think it is. You know, like many people have played many games and they think it's fun and interesting, and they think it might be easy to do, but it's really hard job.
Gaming is really used by education in a lot of different ways. It's really powerful because it's something that students find very fun, and to be honest, it's also very hard. It requires a lot of mathematics and advanced programming knowledge. The computer interprets the world through mathematics, so you need to understand the mathematics and how they apply to the real world in order to make a game that plays, looks, and feels realistic.
Students in the program don't need any prior knowledge of game or simulation development, but it always helps if you've taken math or programming or art in high school. Those skills will help you in college. We like to invite speakers from the local gaming industry to come talk to our students so they can ask them questions directly and learn what it's really like working in the gaming or simulation industry.
I personally learn best in the environment where you have an accessible expert. I like to be given a project and just set loose and have someone who's available when I say, need to know, how do I do this? And I just say, Professor, how do I make the model do what I want it to do? And they give me an answer. And for the people who are attracted to this kind of program, that tends to be how they work best.
We're currently developing in phase 2 a pandemic serious game for hospital administrators to practice a response on the facility in the event of a pandemic flu outbreak.
We're working with Johns Hopkins Hospital to develop an XNA game to familiarize children in their pediatrics ward with the hospital as a whole.
We also have an interesting class that combines gaming and health applications. It's looking at how gaming is used to promote health and fitness.
We had the opportunity to work with the same tools that the professionals use to build our own levels and work in a group to build a coherent set of levels that would be a part of a game that we might like to make.
You get a kind of overview of the gaming process, the game making process. You have art classes, you have programming classes, you have design classes, and by the end of it you should be able to kind of pick out what you like doing best and kind of stick with it. The class sizes in the gaming program at MC are pretty small. I think maybe around 20 students average. They all are very creative people. They're very motivated to finish school and to get a degree. And I think I met a lot of interesting people and professors and people who are very passionate about what they do.
The professors here are really helpful because, like, before taking any classes, I had no experience with gaming and stuff.
The program at Montgomery College helped me get a start. It helped me learn the foundations of game design and get some practice with 3D modeling, and most importantly, working together with fellow classmates in a project. Because in the gaming industry, you can't do anything by yourself anymore. You have to learn and practice working with a group, because that's basically how it's going to work in the future.
There are many popular courses and applications in the gaming program. Many of the students like to start with flash animation, where you can get short animations up and running very quickly. Other students like the Unreal Engine that we're working with in the level design class. Montgomery College gaming students are getting a great education at an affordable price. And many of our students have gone on to win awards in national game competitions.
Damn fine job, Sergeant.
In order to create a game, you're going to be working with a large variety of artists, other programmers, your managers, marketers, and everyone has to work together really closely to release a game that's good and on time.
It's important for you to play games, first of all, if you're going to design them. And all types of games, not just the ones you like. Get used to the different techniques, the different styles of games, and what makes a game a good game. Because it's not important necessarily when it comes to, say, training, to know what a cool game might look like, but what makes a game good. Something simple, something as simple as Tetris, which people found very addicting, had no three-dimensional graphics, did not have display or fancy sound effects or any of those types of things, but it was engaging, had leveling, and was challenging.
My name is Hara Charik. I work for SimQuest International, and I'm a senior software engineer here. Getting into a company these days might be a lot harder, as you might have to show some previous work. There's a lot of competition out there for these jobs.
One of the questions I get all the time by students is, how do I get started? How do I get involved? How do I get noticed by these big companies? And the one thing I always tell them is the most important thing all of these companies are going to look at is your portfolio. What projects have you actually finished and taken the full way to completions? The Computer Gaming and Simulation program at Montgomery College will help you do just that.
We work with our students to help them build and develop their portfolios and get real-world experience. In fact, right now we're working with NOAA on a series of games for middle school students to educate them about the environment.
I'm Peg Steffen. I'm the Education Coordinator for NOAA's National Ocean Service Education Division at the Silver Spring office. NOAA is the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. It's a federal science agency that's responsible for ocean, coast, and climate science, as well as atmospheric science. One of the focuses that NOAA has right now is preparing coasts for climate change. And along the coasts are a tremendous amount of waters called estuaries that are particularly vulnerable right now to sea level rise and to storm surges. As a focus of NOAA's, we're interested in making sure that the public understands this valuable and very delicate resource and that they understand enough so that they can help preserve it.
I'm Marina Kraus. I'm an education specialist working for NOAA's Ocean Service, and I'm a project lead for the gaming initiative with Montgomery College. NOAA is currently working with Montgomery College on a project called Water Life. Water Life is a series of serious games based on NOAA's science and educational objectives, using the capabilities and the expertise of the students and the staff of Montgomery College.
The game that we're developing for NOAA is designed to teach middle school students about the environment, and more specifically about estuaries. It uses the appeal that today's generation has with video games to try and teach them something, to work as an educational tool. The students are presented with information. Instead of having to learn it by rote, they actually go through an interactive adventure where their choices affect their progress, and they each get to live through the story by themselves. This is very important for education because when students and people in general identify with something, they learn much better, they retain the information, and it's much more interesting to them. Estuaries are very important because they filter pollution out of the environment. By going through a game where they have to work on cleaning up an estuary and helping it so that it can filter out pollution, they internalize the information and they have a much better learning experience.
As the lead animator for the project, I conceptualize and depict the characters in the story, as well as animating the cutscenes for the game, which present the story and introduce the characters and relevant game information.
We're finding that students today in the digital generation are spending as much time on games as they are on their homework. And so this is an opportunity for educational tools to start to reach into that educational market and have some good benefits from a science perspective and an educational objective.
There are quite many people involved in our project. On the Montgomery College side, we have between 15 and 20 people that work on various phases of the game.
We meet once per week at Montgomery College Rockville campus and discuss the details of the game production and decide where we're going to go with certain ideas. Most of the time we talk online through email and tell each other what we think of what's going on with other people's part of the project. Like the programmers give us, their latest game versions, and we play test them. And I post my artwork and people tell me what they think and I make changes. So there's just an ongoing dialogue all the time through email.
NOAA as a science agency does not have the skills and the know-how to put together this kind of an innovative approach to learning. But the Montgomery College gaming program does bring those tools to the table, along with some very creative students and a very dedicated faculty who can help us put this together.
Working with NOAA has helped our students in many ways. Not only are they getting real-world experience with a major client, they're also perfecting their design and animation and programming skills, and most importantly, working in a long-term team environment so they can learn those teamwork and communication skills.
In the period of time that I've been working on this project, I witnessed great growth in the team members that were working with us. They really became quite instrumental in combining the great ideas with working with the real client with limitations and demands, meeting deadlines, getting organized, and acquiring skills that are going to accompany them as they join the workforce in the future.
I've gained a lot from working on the NOAA project because I get to develop my skills as an artist, doing animations and things like that, which I wasn't exactly comfortable with before. But there's also the side of working with a team, and you have to, do communication. You have to be reliable. You have to build up just a back and forth communication between what's going on in your head and what's going on in other people's heads.
The origin of the relationship between NOAA and Montgomery College is actually in my own experience taking many classes through the last years here at Montgomery College. 2-3 years ago, I myself attended the Flash gaming class right here in Rockville campus. Attending that class really opened up our eyes towards the great talents and capabilities that are available at Montgomery College and are not available at NOAA in presenting our educational materials in methods that are favorable to the kids.
NOAA has been very pleased with the results of our collaboration. In fact, they've been so happy with our first game that they asked us to do a sequel, which we're now working on.
NOAA is extremely happy with the product that's been produced with this partnership between NOAA and Montgomery College, and we anticipate it will be very widely disseminated, that it will be popularly played, and we're looking forward to furthering the partnerships in the future.
The computer gaming and simulation program at Montgomery College is a great place to make your start. Not only because specializing in this education early is a great way to get started, but also because the local region has a wide variety of companies and other organizations in need of professionals for this field.
The location of that program here in the state of Maryland with the other gaming companies that are available here is a unique opportunity for students and businesses alike to share and collaborate on projects via internship programs or jobs after college, and we can also, as industry, tap into some of the emerging trends coming out of the college system.
There's a ton of companies in the DC region, Maryland, Virginia, anywhere around here that are very focused on gaming as well as simulation in general. There's just a ton of great game development studios in the region.
The program at Montgomery College will provide you with a solid foundation for your future career. Starting internships and talking to people in the industry will create a network for you that'll help you along and help you find a job.
One of the biggest myths of the gaming industry is that you have to move to the West Coast to find a successful career, but this actually isn't true.
Maryland has been called the East Coast hub of the gaming industry, with about 100 gaming and simulation companies here locally. This is partly because we're so close to the federal government, biotechnology, military, and all kinds of other agencies and companies that use gaming in their work.
The DC metro area is one of the hotbeds of gaming industry. A lot of the federal agencies are now jumping on and understanding that serious games are a good educational tool.
Even if the company's specialty isn't necessarily game design or development, a huge number of governmental organizations and other companies have specific teams or groups or departments whose job is to create these simulations to express and communicate their ideas or better understand problems.
Computer graphics and animations are ubiquitous. They're in your local news, the national sporting events, and all over the internet.
There's potential for going into a career in advertising, in animation. The possibilities are really endless because the program covers such a broad amount of material that is very important to the modern world.
The computer gaming and simulation program at Montgomery College is unique in this area. It's locally funded, and it feeds back into an industry that is part of our local economy. The program takes about 2 years to complete, depending on the student. Some students go full-time, some students go part-time, so it depends on the student's schedule, but it can be completed in 2 years.
To find out more about the computer gaming and simulation program at Montgomery College, go to studygaming.com and be sure to check out the transfer opportunities and scholarships available to students.